Hey, Money Magicians, how are you today? So happy Saturday. I was supposed to do this yesterday, but I was like, oh, well, I'm on day one of my fast today, so I'll just hold off the video until today because day one of my fasting, I need something to take my mind off the water fast. But it's actually not so bad. Day one isn't the bad day. Day two of the water fast is usually the day that drives me crazy. So far today, I've been like, la 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 la, this is easy. Tomorrow is the day where I'm always like, shoot me, why do I do this to myself? I can't go through with this. And then day three, I'm like, oh, it's only a few more hours and then like I'll get to eat again. It's all good, right? So I wanted to quickly do a live video though about the fear of having money. So on Monday, I asked on a scale of 1 to 10 how people feel about their relationship with money in terms of having money in the bank account and having fun with money and having a balanced relationship with money, right? So most times we have this belief in our lives that, well, not this belief, most times we talk about just having just the fear and anxiety that goes with month end and not having money. But there's also a bigger side to this equation, and you can have both fears simultaneously, right? Like I struggled with that for years. The fear and anxiety of not having money, not having enough money, and then the fear of an anxiety of actually having money. It's insane. But the beauty of the subconscious mind is it doesn't have to be sane. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be rational. In fact, our subconscious mind is not sane. It's not rational. That's the role of the conscious mind. So a lot of the decisions that we draw can completely contradict each other, and we can completely contradict ourselves and still be like very schizophrenic that, oh my God, I want money, but as soon as I have money, I want to get rid of money. Like, what's going on with that? That's totally possible. And you know what? It's completely normal for most people that would be terrified of having money, and that would also be terrified of not having enough money and be stressing with that. And so what happens is you go as a yo-yo. You're like, I'm going to make lots and lots of money. I'm going to work super hard, get promotions, get that degree, get that job, make that money, get money in the bank, boom. Like, make it, and as soon as you have it, you're like, where did it go? Where did it go? It's gone, right? So how do you know if you're struggling with this fear? And this is so interesting because it's actually been coming up a lot in my coaching sessions. At least this week, it felt really interesting because I don't think I've ever had this with my clients before, where we had this discussion of the fear of having money in your bank accounts. I mean, like, it comes up, but it comes up way later in coaching and randomly. And I've never had like all my clients just be like, oh, okay, this fear is coming up all in 1 week. So this was interesting. And I think that's also why I started to address it in the group. So the fear, how does this play out, right? The main thing that I would say is, how do you know that you're struggling with this fear of having money in your bank account? It will be like like you'll feel uneasy when you have money in your bank account. You just can't rest. Okay, so most people know what I mean when I talk about this, right? It's like the money, it's almost like the money keeps calling your name, if there's such a thing, right? Like Iang Visa, as we would say. It's like you just hear it, you can sense it, there's money in your bank account, and it's just, as the song goes, you can't sleep. If money, you can't sleep. So if you have money, you just can't sleep. You can sense it, you feel it in your, I guess, like, you feel it in your system. And we make jokes about that now, right? We have songs about that, we laugh about that, but that's actually something way, way deeper. There's a part of us that is not at ease with having money in our bank accounts. So so sometimes how it will play out is we're okay with having X amount in the bank account, right? We're absolutely okay with this amount because we've become comfortable with that amount. But as soon as money goes beyond that amount, we can be good for a few months, maybe 3-4 months, but before we know it, it's still like there's that uneasiness. We start making plans with how are we gonna use this money? This money must be put to use. So there's like a lot of uneasiness. So let me know if this resonates and if it makes sense. So that's the first sign that maybe there's something a lot more going on, because again, the body never lies, and you'll feel it in your body. It will feel a little different. It will feel a little weird. So it may not just be fear, but it may also be anxiety or a bunch of other emotions that are filtered in. For me, it was often guilt about having that money. So there's so many emotions. So we don't talk about that because we always talk about how the problem is the not having money. But sometimes the problem really is that our problems start when we do have money, right? So often you'll see people work super hard and they'll have no problems with the working hard to get the money, like doing everything that they need to do to get there. And then once they do get to that amount that they want and that money that they want, then we're like, but why is this person behaving so strangely? Why are they in so much like self-destruction mode? Suddenly they become a person that we don't understand. They're doing absolutely everything, it seems, to self-destruct and to basically destroy the very thing that they worked so hard to get, right? A lot of that has to do with what they're feeling around having achieved that and around having gotten to, around having that money. And a lot of it has to do with a lot of first chakra stuff, right? First and second chakra stuff, which is around the inner child, the inner teen, a lot of feeling safe around having money. So that's why a lot of this is happening. It's not just because we're just behaving crazy and things are going a little insane. Good topic, resonating. Hi, Devs. Yeah, so a lot of it is just like, we're just like reacting to that. And it's got a lot to do with this feeling of safety. And I keep trying to stress this, that it always comes back to the inner work, you know? So most times we tend to think, oh, it's about just, I work hard, I do this, but what do you do in that case when you've actually achieved the thing that you've been working so hard for, right? You finally get it, and then you see yourself tearing it apart, or you finally have that amount of money, you've finally gotten your bonus, you've finally gotten that promotion with more money, and yet the more money that's in there, the less easier you're breathing. So what would happen to me is I would like want more clients, want more everything. And as wealthy money started to grow and things started to shift, every time money would flow into the account, I would feel my body tensing, right? It would be like, and I remember telling my coach that it would be like a part of me would be saying in the morning, please don't let the money come, please don't let the money come. It would be like a really small, subtle voice, which would make no sense, but it was there, right? And I had to acknowledge it. That's how the topic came up with my own coach, because I also have a coach, right? So that's how the topic came up, because I was like, oh, I noticed this. And she was like, oh, you need to explore that. You know, so I started really sitting with it, exploring it. And instead of like running away from the feelings when my cell phone would go up, I'd be like, okay, let me sit with this. Let me sit with this voice. Let me amplify it. Let me do the inner work around it. Let me do the money magic meditations. Let's work on that. Because I realized that as I was doing that, one of the interesting things that I noticed was that I was I could feel myself energetically blocking money, energetically blocking my own financial progress, which to most people would be like, but you worked so hard for this, but this is what you wanted. But again, the subconscious doesn't work like that. There was a part of me that felt truly unsafe around money because I still had a particular view of money. So I needed to do a lot more work around my spirit of money. So spirit of money work is what we cover in the Money Magic course. So I had to do a lot more work around my spirit of money and really understanding the image that I had of money still. But then the other thing that I had to do a lot more work around was around my inner child and my inner teen around money, because there were like a lot of things and layers around that. And a lot of that also had to do with my vows of rebellion. Like I had really strict, so I cover vows and all the many vows. Like in the Money Magic course, I've listed about 20 or something vows that we make around money. So we cover that a lot. And we just did a 10-day fall in love with your bank account challenge, and we covered vows. I'm not going to be able to do this right now in this video, right? But trust me when I say vows are some of the most important things that you can cover when it comes to money and releasing those vows. So we've got tons of meditations in the course around releasing the vows. And often you can do so much work around your thoughts, your emotions, memories, but until you release the vows that you made around money, it can sometimes feel like you're working backwards. You can sometimes feel stuck. So for me, it was that I'd seen how having money changed the people in my life, you know, especially family members. The family members that had money were suddenly given the most power in the family. I know most people resonate with what I'm saying, right? So let me know in the comments as you're watching the video if this makes sense. So I'd see like how a family member wasn't always, maybe wasn't even the greatest person in terms of just like their value system, who they were, but because they had money, suddenly everyone in the family treated them differently. They became more important. Their value system, their craziness, all the things that they did was basically ignored because they had more money. And because they had more money in the family and were better off financially, they were given a particular status, and then they had like free reign to treat people any which way. So I made a lot of vows to never be that person. So because children and even the teen brain isn't so fully developed that we have like deductive logic and we can sit down and say, oh, it's not money that's making them do this. It's because they are just this person. And having the money just accentuates that, because often how people tend to cater to people with money. We tend to have a hard time saying no to people with money because we don't want to hurt them or upset them, and we want to be in their good graces. So in families it works the same, right? So I didn't have the ability to do that, and most kids don't. So what we do is we look at that and we go, oh, the money made them this person. And so suddenly I don't want to be like that because money made them this person, right? So we blame money. And so having money is associated with all these other behaviors and all these other traumas. And maybe say you observed someone with money then treat your mom in a particular way, or treat everyone in the family in a particular way, right? Or actually treat you in a particular way. So maybe you suffered abuse at the hands of the person because they had money, and so that left you powerless. You may have made a vow to never have money because you don't want to be like this person. So it's about healing the vows of rebellion, healing vows of loyalty, healing all these vows so that we don't feel this urge to suddenly get rid of the money and feel uneasy or unsafe because we have this money in our bank account. So there's a lot of inner work that goes into that and healing that, but healing it is so not impossible, right? It's about just acknowledging all the various traumas that we have around money and really sitting with that, healing our inner child, healing our inner teen. Again, these are all things that we cover in the Money Magic meditation. There's like about 30 something meditations in the course, and we're just going through healing all these various aspects of ourselves, right? So, Palisa, so Sehomuto Palisa said, so true. I've been through the most this past month, but this month end I have resorted to letting the universe take care of me, stepping into an abundant me, and acknowledge my bank account as my mother-in-law. I just need to show who I really am. I've already paid off 2 debts. So that's really amazing. We all like celebrated with that, with her around that, right? And then Adrienne said, I have a fear of having money. More honest, if I have it, I feel like I have to spend it. I've spent $3,300 since last Wednesday. So that's US dollars. Geez, right? That's what she said. And I'm also like echoing that, like, geez. So she talks a lot about that. And but then she says she doesn't think she has any panic. But then she says, I have this panic about, oh shit, I have it, let me get more things I don't need, or toys I want. It's annoying. I don't know how to save, and that I don't want to. My life is so fluid. I don't want to die with a lot of money left over, right? So obviously when you die, you can't take it with you. We all say that. But at the same time, there definitely is something more. If ever you feel like, oh, as soon as I have it, I need to get rid of it, it may do you some good to really sit with that and explore, where is this coming from? And just sitting with that sensation and that desire, right? That in itself will shift a lot, right? It will shift that need to just get rid of it, right? It may not shift you blocking it from coming in anymore, but at least it will shift you wanting to get rid of it, right? Because there's 2 elements to this, is that you want to be able to sit with the money, but you also want to be energetically open to allowing more money to flow in. So what most of us sometimes do is that once we figure out how to sit with the money and allow the money to just sit in the account, we then start energetically blocking it because we don't want to deal with more of it just sitting there, right? So just being aware of that, oh, okay, maybe I'm good at allowing it to sit there, but now I'm also not seeing this inflow and this constant inflow of it coming in, right? So that's some of the things that you just need to be aware of. So when you find yourself in that situation, you just want to sit with that and sit with that desire. Every time you have a desire to go spend it, sit with it. So here's the thing that could happen, and that has happened to me, and that happens to a lot of my students and my coaching clients, that I see constantly happen. So now you've learned not to spend it. You're not going to spend it. You're not like having this desire to just get rid of it, right? Then suddenly emergencies manifest. So it's just sitting there. You're doing good about not spending it or feeling the need to spend it. Suddenly the geyser bursts, the car breaks down, friends that never needed money before suddenly are in emergencies. They need money. Kids need things. Like suddenly emergencies start popping up out of the blue. You need to explore that. That's not just emergencies coming out of the blue for no reason. It's like, why now, right? So really sit with it. The emergencies, that's a whole different ball game, right? Like I'll try and do a video on that if people are really struggling with that. But if you see that there's a pattern that when you have money, suddenly emergencies are popping up. For me, it was my car, always when I was in South Africa, right? It was like my car suddenly needed something out of the blue, right? So just be aware of that. And then recently. And then also a big thing for me is electronics, like my cell phone breaks down suddenly, just like out of the blue. My laptop will just have a breakdown, all sorts of things, right? So my thing really is electronics, right? So my emergencies manifest through that. So just be aware, some people, it will be super intense. It will be like suddenly health issues. So they need to start paying for health practitioners, whatever. So the mind will still find a way to get rid of it. So that's why we do the inner work, so that we're not triggered and we're not creating these emergencies, because we're so powerful, right? Our subconscious is so powerful. Our souls are just the most powerful things. So if within us we're feeling threatened, and spiritually and on a soul level we're not feeling safe with that money, we'll find a way to get rid of it. So ultimately, we want to heal the triggers. We want to heal the traumas so that we do feel safe, right? And then Palisa says, yes, this speaks to me. Always want to burn money in the account, but very happy today to help a friend out with an urgent rent-orientated loan with for a couple of $1,000, because I actually had the money, non-budget me and carefree spending, and felt relieved that I wasn't going to be wasting it on books and clothes. Okay, so that just comes back to the very point that I just made, right? About friends suddenly needing money. I didn't see Palisa. I read Palisa's comment in the week, but I didn't see it coming up now. But yeah, same thing. Totally. Like, yeah, suddenly friends start needing money, or people you don't know, family members call out of the blue, people who never had an interest in asking you for money suddenly ask you for money. And it's not about them. I'm going to keep saying this. It's not about our families. It's not about our friends. It's not about any of those people asking us for money. It's all about us. Trust and believe that once you start healing that, so many of the Money Magic students will tell you that as soon as they heal that, the people that were asking them for money suddenly disappeared. Family members started having different discussions with them around money, because it's all about us in the end, right? And yes, and this is why I'm so not a fan of saying cut off family members because we have to help them or any of that. No, it's about there's different ways that we can help people and help family members without bankrupting ourselves. And a lot of that has to first getting things right within, and then how we approach those discussions with family members and with friends around money is completely different, and could actually be, believe it or not, healing for both parties. So there are ways that we can have discussions and do things without re-traumatizing ourselves and without re-traumatizing the next party, or making them feel bad because they don't have and because they're in a position of need. And I'm so big on that, right? So when I feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna flip out on some people, or I'm just gonna have like a whole mess of a situation on my hands, then I'd rather just like keep quiet. I always say, no, I'm not. And my family knows this about me, that I'll say, no, I'll talk to this person or address the money issue in another 2 months or 3 months, because I know that whatever I'm gonna say isn't gonna help either one of us. It's going to be more harmful to them, and it's not going to do me any good. So the work is my work, and then when I've done the work within, I can sit down and have a conversation and not be triggered. So it's okay that we first work on ourselves, so that, because when we're triggered, we're going to trigger the next person. The way that we approach discussions in families and friends around money, trust and believe, is not going to be helpful, because we'll be screaming, shouting, blaming. Nobody's going to react to that, right? Nobody's going to want to change from that point of view, from when they approached in that manner. So just something to think about, okay? And so there's a bunch of people that agreed with Palisa, right? So Sekhomuta said the same thing, that I am here, a lesson for me indeed as well, right? And yeah, so it was just a whole discussion. You guys can look at it. And then Other people also commented on that. There's like a bunch of comments on that, so I'm not gonna go into that. And then Senzagila said, this speaks to me as well. It seems I freak out when I have money and I spend it very fast. Okay, so I hope this video helps. And then Nisa says, well, I never knew that it was a fear. It's interesting how we'll get sudden urges and emergencies to attend to with the money. Yeah, that's like my recent thing this year, is that suddenly I have sudden business urges and sudden things that the business needed that like, oh no, like I need to do this for the business for us to expand, etc., etc. Until like a few months ago, I was like, wait a minute, this is still just me reacting, but now it's come in another sneaky way that's completely different. So I need a new way to approach this. So just be aware of that. And that's the beauty of doing the work. You become aware that, oh my gosh, I'm just no longer manifesting emergencies. Now I'm just like finding new ways, you know, to spend it and not allow it to just be. Right? And then Paul says, yo, I resonate with this so much. I have this fear to lose money. And so when I have extra cash, I hurriedly research investments where I can make more. I can't trust myself with the extra cash. And when I see some returns in my investments, it's like I get a rush to see that money grow. Okay, so this is like really, Paul makes such a good point, because this is something that's also come up in the Money Magic student group, which is how, like, as soon as we get money, we have this desire to hide it, to put it in investments, get it as far away from our bank accounts as possible, where we don't see it. It needs to be out of sight, basically, you know? So, and it comes off as, I'm a good steward of money, because as soon as I have it, it needs to go into an investment account. I need to do this, I need to do that. You're still uneasy about having it in your bank account. You just can't let it rest. That very same day, it needs to go. So just be aware of that and how that comes off, because there's still an uneasiness. And best believe that that uneasiness is playing out even in our ability to receive more. Because remember, all these emotions also impact our ability to receive more and grow that money. So you just want to be aware of that, even if it seems like, oh, I'm a great steward of money, right? So just be aware of all these emotions. And it's been interesting, because we've been working through some of these in the course, in the 10-day bank account challenge, and people were like, oh my God, I thought I was so great. And now like all this other stuff is coming up, that actually this was just another way for me to never have to see money, never have to deal with it. Because my thing is always, what happens when the investment comes due? Say you're investing in endowments and the investment comes due, and suddenly all that money comes into your bank account. How are you going to feel then? You know, and you need to, and it just like happens on a day when you're not expecting it. So this is why we do the work, because things like that do happen. And then that's when most people will be like, oh, I just made a big boo-boo. The entire investment came due and I have no clue what happened with it, because you needed to find a way to get rid of it as fast as possible, and you didn't get time to fully just plan when a lump sum comes out of the blue and you weren't expecting it, right? So ultimately what we want is to always be calm, right? That the money is there, we're calm, we're thinking about it. And also it gives us time to maybe even consider new investments if we allow it to sit for a few days and we're okay with it for a few weeks, and we're liquid cash wise, and we can consider new investments that we hadn't thought of. But because we're acting from a place of, oh, I need to get rid of it, which is like, I'll just put it in this investment so I never have to deal with it, right? That's still a way of getting rid of money. Okay, so hope this helps. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, it's getting to be sunset. I'm on day 1 on my water fast. So tomorrow I'm on day 2. You guys are going to have to send me lots of love and energy for tomorrow, day 2 of the water fast. It's always the hardest day for me. I don't want to put that into my future, but history has shown that this has often been the hardest day for me to get through. I get through it, but not with grace. So I'm trying to get through day 2 of the water fast with grace. So have a fantastic Saturday, guys. Bye.